My name is David Galler, and it is my belief that every dentist, either once a day, once a week, or once a month, feels very mediocre. And that's crazy because only 89% of people in North America graduate high school. And only 35% of people in North America graduate college with a bachelor's degree. And only 13% graduate college with a master's degree. And only 3.4% of people graduate with a professional degree. So even on your worst day, let's be real, you're more accomplished, educated, and talented than 96% of North America. But I get it. You feel mediocre. That's why we have this podcast.
The mediocre dentist, the mediocre dentist. 'Cause sometimes you just feel mediocre. The mediocre dentist, the mediocre dentist. I am mediocre, you are mediocre, and that's not that bad.
All right, well, welcome to the first episode of The Mediocre Dentist. I am your host, Dr. David Galler, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Dr. Andrea, your better half.
Very good. We are so excited to do this podcast. We've been talking about this podcast for years.
We have.
And I'm excited to have you as the co-host. Let's give the audience a little bit of an idea of what's going to happen in this podcast. It's going to be a weekly podcast coming to you for a whole season, 13 episodes in the season. We hope to release the episodes every Monday morning. And this is a podcast where we tell you that you're good enough.
Just as is.
Just as is. Should you buy more offices?
No.
Should you make more operatories?
You don't need to.
Should we tell our listeners to make more money?
No.
What should people do?
Be happy with what you've got.
Be happy with what you got. This is a podcast where every week when you tune in, we're not selling you anything. In fact, we're probably telling you not to buy things. It's going to probably be really hard to get sponsors for this podcast. I don't think we're going to get many sponsors. But listen, all right, here's how we came up with the idea for this podcast. I meet thousands of dentists. In my other hat, I'm the president of the American Academy of Clear Aligners. I teach dentists how to do Invisalign. And I meet easily 100 general dentists a month. And did you know that nobody's happy?
Nobody. Not one.
It's crazy.
There's a couple of weirdos out there.
It's crazy. We have a profession where everyone just feels less than adequate. Everyone sometimes just feels like they're not pulling it. I don't know where it comes from. We'll talk about it. But every dentist listening to this podcast, I don't know if you're riding your bicycle to work, or you're running on a treadmill, or you're in the back of the car, or you're just listening on the train, just know I get you. I get you. We all feel mediocre. And it's crazy. It doesn't matter how successful you are or how many offices you are, everybody feels mediocre.
It's just never enough.
Never enough.
We're all firmly entrenched in this little dental rat race. And I don't know where it started either. Because I remember when I first graduated from dental school, I was in my nice, like, cushy little bubble. I kind of got a glimpse of what the dental world was going to be in dental school. I don't know if you experienced this, but you kind of saw like the degradation of the human spirit, people like starting to steal patients from one another, and you're like, I don't know.
It already started in dental school, right?
It did. Oh, absolutely.
Competition started in dental school.
And it didn't start that way. Everyone was friends, and we had made it into this professional program. We're excited, and then you just slowly wither away, and they break your spirit with our instructors and the clinical evaluations and feeling less than. I suppose it started there.
Everybody I know as a dentist is unhappy. It really is. Like, if you meet people and you're like, how are you doing? Like, well, I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it. Do you know anything about offshore banking? But truly, once you like peel back the layers, everyone's going, yeah, I'm super stressed. I'm having a lot of trouble. And this is the podcast we're going to talk about. Let's talk about some rules for this podcast. Okay. We aren't going to sell anything.
No. Happiness. We're selling happiness.
We're selling happiness, and we're not going to sell anything. Number two, we like to swear quite a bit. So
Yeah, I'm a fan of the F-bomb.
if
Yeah.
you say if fucking crazy, if something fucking crazy could happen here, we will curse at
It's a
times
sign of
for
intelligence.
emphasis.
And it's a sign of intelligence. I think that's irrefutable at this point.
Tony Robbins said, if you want to talk to people, you have to use taboo language, and that will be allowed on this show.
We shall do that.
If we start pandering and forcing people to buy more things and to build bigger offices and to make more money, everyone should email us right away and call us on our shit.
Absolutely.
Okay? Because then we have lost our way. I don't know, like season 6, we start by, you should buy more. Everyone has permission. The email for the show is themediocredentist@gmail.com. And you could start emailing us right away. If you've ever felt less than, everybody in the country that feels less than, everybody that gets annoyed when you look at people on Instagram with their perfect offices and their perfect staff, and when I meet dentists and they talk to me about the office culture, I want to punch them in the throat.
Absolutely. It's like the more you're talking about how great it is, I really feel like deep down you're just overcompensating. It just means it's absolutely horrific.
I just want everybody in the office to show up. That's it. That's all I'm hoping for.
If that happens, that's a win.
That's all we're going for.
Yeah.
And not to kill a patient. If you could do those two things.
The bar's been set
like
very low. Okay.
Don't you want to just punch people in the throat when they say the word
It's
culture?
It's such a
what does that even
fashionable
mean?
world.
Culture. We have such a good culture in our, hey, Dr. Niski, I don't know about you, but we went to a 26-hour training and we learned about culture, and now I came
we all
back
dressed up in our
and
outfits.
I instilled this great culture in my office. Like culture.
No,
most of your office didn't graduate high school.
Not just that, but most of those people are going to leave anyways.
Everybody leaves. Everybody leaves.
The
All
situation we find ourselves in.
Let's review our rules here. Number 1, swearing is allowed.
Plenty.
Number 2, we are not going to pander. We are unlikely to get any sponsors for this at all. Okay, so what you see, this is going to be a low budget production as you see, and it will likely stay that way for the entirety of the podcast. We're also not going to pretend to be involved in culture and everything great, everyone making more money. We are, in fact, going to be the anti-establishment. And the first rule is the greater you look on Instagram, I think the more unhappy you probably are.
Absolutely.
Right?
We've been talking about that for some time.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, we're going to talk about you and your health. And listen, I don't have the answers. I'm stressed also sometimes. You're stressed, but I don't have the answers. We don't have psychology degrees, but we're going to start a conversation where all the dental world just gets up and goes, yeah, I'm not having a good time.
Yeah. And hopefully figure out a solution or two.
Maybe get some solutions.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like psychology solutions.
No, this isn't on books that have been read written and that we've read. This is just going to be organically.
This is you and me talking.
Experienced. You know a lot of people. You've
I know
got
a lot of dentists.
Minimum 5,000 docs under your belt, and you see the inner workings of their minds and what happens in their practice for real, not what's portrayed on social media. And we're going to start combing through that.
Our entire goal is just to bring some laughs and happiness to your week. If you just tune in and go, these guys get me, you're in the right podcast.
Absolutely.
If you're looking for CE, you're in the wrong place. I don't have any CE to offer you here, just happiness.
Sounds good to me, David Galler.
Let's talk about us. So my name is David Galler, and I am a general dentist originally from New York. Now I am part of a practice in British Columbia. Dr. Andrea is my
better half, the lucky duck that gets to go through this life with you.
She is my wife. She is a general dentist from British Columbia.
I am.
We have been married now for 4 months, and we figured what better way to strengthen our relationship than to do a podcast together for dentists to make other dentists happy.
Yeah,
so
not such a bad idea.
We converted one of the rooms in our home here in Las Vegas, Nevada into a podcast room. If you're ever in Las Vegas, Nevada, come by, say hello. We'll interview you, talk some stuff about everything in your life, happiness and whatnot. But every episode is going to be talking about one aspect of dentistry. Important to note, since we're talking about happiness and job satisfaction, Have you read any happiness books / taken any psychology classes to prepare for this course?
Me?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Not one.
Not one.
Intentionally, not even one.
Yeah. I want to be transparent. I haven't read anything either. So if we tell you something's happy or makes us happy, it's literally just from us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight from
the booty.
Yeah, nothing. I didn't read any books on happiness. But I find a lot of unhappy dentists. All right, here's a cool stat that you know. I give 2 types of lectures.
Yeah.
One of them is Invisalign related. I teach dentists how to use Invisalign in their practice and to grow their Invisalign business. It's kind of my thing. It's what I've been doing for my whole career. A few times a year, I get to give another lecture called the Dental Anxiety Lecture. It used to be called.
Your favorite.
It's my favorite lecture
Absolutely
to give.
Favorite.
Sometimes it used to be called like, why do dentists have the highest suicide rate? It's been called dental burnout. And I get to give it about 4 times a year. This year, 2025, I'm giving it at Chicago Midwinter. If you're at Chicago Midwinter, come. I'm giving it the Minnesota Star of the North keynote lecture, and I'm speaking at the AGD Montreal and York Dental Society. That's the first half of the year. And I get to give this amazing lecture called Dental Anxiety Burnout, which is just everything I see about how dentists are cray-cray.
Yeah.
Absolutely cray-cray. Every dentist I know is just like a little bit broken.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how and I don't know when, but every dentist I know is just a little bit broken.
I knew that was the case when I saw us coming out with dances on Instagram and TikTok. Whatever that was, I knew,
the Instagram dancing
that's when
phase.
It solidified for me, the dentists are odd. If that's how we're going to bring new patients into the practice.
You know who started that? We met that guy. We met
the singing dentist?
We met the singing dentist in London.
Birmingham, yeah.
In London. Okay, so for our audience who doesn't know, there was a guy in London who was a dentist, and he started an Instagram craze where he would sing to the patients, or he would make up songs.
He created songs, yeah. He had a whole vibe. It's like, was he like the eyebrow? Like he was very
right. It was like
dramatic.
He was an Indian guy, right? Was it Indian descent maybe?
Okay. I don't know, so
cool.
I don't want to
now
say.
Indian listeners are now just blocked us or didn't block us from this podcast. Cool.
We're gonna get canceled.
We just lost half our audience. But he started it, got like 1 million views, and went crazy.
Yeah.
Since that moment,
yeah,
every dentist from every main town USA city decides that in order to get patients or to look cool, what they do is just a little.
That's
I
awful.
throw the pen to you, you throw the pen to me. We like patients.
We're in other rooms.
We are patients.
No. It's terrible.
Drives me crazy.
I don't think the patients want that.
What is the purpose of it?
I don't know. I think to show maybe that dirty C word, that culture word, when you're like dancing with your team. I don't know if that like
what kind of crazy patient goes, I have a toothache. This asshole looks like he knows how to fix a toothache. This guy looks like an idiot.
I know.
What? And yet I can't stop it. I've been railing against it for years. I cannot stop
I did it once.
This.
I did do it. I did it.
Whoa.
I did it to, I think it was the Drake song.
You danced in the office? I didn't know this.
I even had one of my children in there.
What?
Like I thought that was the new standard. See, this is the problem. This is what we think. We don't know. There's no like playbook for dentistry. But it's like monkey see, monkey do. You see people dancing around. And you're like, Jesus Christ, I need to actually get out there and I got to be cool. This is what the hip kids are doing. I got to stay relevant.
So,
I got to look like an asshole.
Did you get any patients from it?
0. I probably lost patients. I should. I absolutely should. I was horrified.
Okay, so I think the first conclusion we have is do not embarrass yourself on Instagram dancing. And don't feel more important, not
pressured.
Do it
if it's in your soul.
You do it. If you like dancing, do it.
Who are we to judge?
Well, not to judge. But okay. Let me rephrase that.
A little bit judgy, but
do not feel pressured to up your Instagram, TikTok game with dances because the general public does not consider that a gateway to a cool, successful. All the public wants to know is that you are kind and skilled.
Absolutely. 2 things. You win.
That's it.
You got them.
If you know how to fix teeth and you're kind and gentle, you got me.
100%.
We should just make an Instagram video called I am kind, I am gentle, you won't feel anything, and I'm smart. I went to an Ivy League school. Did we mention that at the beginning of the podcast?
Oh, that you did and I didn't?
That I went to an Ivy League dental school and that I graduated top 10?
Okay. Well, I think the way that
that's the kind of shit that drives me crazy.
See, and
Okay?
it made my heart race.
See, did you get nervous on that?
Yes.
Did you
and
get nervous?
I immediately wanted to like defend myself, and I wanted to tell you that I'm Canadian, and all of our schools are like as good as your Ivy League
I don't
schools,
think
and
so.
it's the way it works.
Dentists love to strut their fat. I graduated 25 years ago. There weren't even implants when I graduated.
I know.
Okay? So me pretending that my dental school was better because it has designation from Benjamin Franklin in 1785 is borderline ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But dentists love to do that. So if your heart was like, oh shit, David's really smart. I'm on a podcast where David's really smart. That is exactly what we're trying to get rid of.
Absolutely.
And it's everywhere.
It is rampant. And hey, what are we going to do?
We are going to do something.
We're going to change it. I know if you don't.
Because look, at the end of the day, we're all mediocre.
That's what we're going to strive for.
Okay, I feel like I'm mediocre.
In
once,
what?
Once a week. Once a week, I feel mediocre.
Once a week?
Once a week.
Oh, I'm like
when I was practicing.
Once a minute.
Maybe we should tell people. Okay, so I started as a general dentist in New York.
Yep.
I had restorative practice, Invisalign practice, and then slowly as time went on, it just changed completely to a Invisalign practice. Then I moved to Chicago, worked Invisalign there in an office with Dr. Mithila Sharma, love her. Then moved down to North Carolina and did some Invisalign there, was working in the Align technology facility there, helped out an office there named Dr. Kushal Gandhi, got her up and running with Invisalign, got a North Carolina license. Then I got married and moved to British Columbia.
Became a cute little Canadian.
Became a Canadian and then and then now I'm a part of your practice.
A little bit.
And I get
just
paid.
Not on the same days that I'm there.
And I get paid in
kisses.
I get paid as much as you get paid for doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's okay.
So I'm pretty much doing Invisalign. Okay. When I was doing restorative, I probably felt mediocre once a day. Once a day, I would look at a bite wing of a filling I did a year or two ago, and I go like, could have been better.
Okay, and we're different people. We kind of bring different like flavors to this podcast. You're more the business guy, so I could see how maybe like the clinical part would make you feel less than.
I would just want to say that most of the country thinks of me as one of the clinical gods of Invisalign. They call me the Godfather of Invisalign. I just want to clinical. Okay, restorative.
So you're the amazing.
Doing
you're the
a
best.
crown.
Okay.
I am the best, and I need her to say that because I'm so self-conscious. What is wrong with us as a people? There's a problem. Could everybody just say, we've only been on the podcast for, this podcast is 22 minutes old.
Yes.
And I needed to tell you how great I was twice. We have a whole agenda. We didn't even get to it.
No.
We
you didn't even go through the rules. I think you just.
We've gone through the rules.
Swear? Let's recap. You like to bring it back.
No
full
swearing.
circle.
Oh, yes, swearing.
Yes, swearing. Swear lots.
We aren't going to pander or make you buy anything.
Yes.
I don't care if you practice 1 day a week or 6 days a week. I don't care if you have 1 practice or 8 practices. If you're asking me, should you buy another practice or build a pool for your children to play in? My answer is a pool.
Every time.
Should we work an extra week so we make our number for the month or go to Disney World?
Yeah.
Go to Disney World.
Every time.
Yeah.
100%. Okay. Well, those are very basic rules.
And everyone on this podcast should just know that if you feel less than, you're in the right place.
You're our people.
If you were looking how to burnish a contact, is this your podcast or not?
I mean, you literally just said the thing that defines me. Like, I've been at this game 17 years, and there are few things in this world that bring me greater joy than a well-burnished Class 2 interproximal contact. So you led
Okay,
with
so let's get into that.
Yeah.
You define yourself
Absolutely.
by your contacts. Do you see a problem with that?
It's just something that I feel like I can control. So I think that there's probably some like deep-rooted elements
and if the
there.
contact just like
No, I don't want. I will not sleep at night if there will be food dropping into that contact.
Why you're not
I don't
mediocre?
Know. I know. I would say
if the contact. Okay, if like is
okay. Let's break it down. Break it down for me, Dr. David.
The widget
Yeah.
slips a little, and your
Ooh.
contact just
No,
a
I'm
little
coming.
higher.
I'm coming from both angles.
Yeah.
Buckled and Ghoul.
Yeah, but there you got to get to another room, and
Yeah.
the wedge slips a little bit, and your contact just a little bit higher than it should be.
Yeah.
It's kind of like right on the marginal ridge. What are you doing there?
Oh, it wouldn't have happened.
Chairs
I
already
burnish-
pushed.
I do
come
a
up.
million increments, and I'm burnishing between each increment. Did that make you feel bad about yourself?
Okay, back in amalgam day. Amalgam day. Did you do amalgams at the University of British Columbia?
That is all I did. I will be honest here. I did 2 composites or composites, as you guys speak in your language, in all of my dental career. Isn't that a sad story?
In all
2 composites. The rest were amalgam. So yeah,
well, that's because
I know
you
my way
graduated
around
in
amalgam.
1981. What do you expect?
It was 2008.
See,
And
most of our listeners are just going to be listening, and they won't actually be able to see you.
Okay.
So if they can't see you, and I say you,
can say
graduated,
1980.
I could say like, wow, yeah, she's 72 years old.
Absolutely.
She looked good for
Strictly.
72. Okay, you graduated. Let's just be upfront with our audience. I graduated in 2003, and you graduated in 2007.
2008.
2008.
Yes.
Okay, you love restorative. I'm left
team,
the restorative world behind.
And you are team business, and I
And
loathe
clinical,
it.
what the hell?
No, you are a
What?
businessman.
I literally invented an IPR technique.
We have to bring something different to the podcast
I literally
realm here.
invented an algorithm for people to solve Invisalign with.
And I'm grateful. I use it. Thanks.
Okay, so let's remember the clinical part.
Okay, all right. But let's
Thank
just
you.
take a step back where we differ.
Okay.
You love business. I loathe it.
And Invisalign.
And Invisalign. And I like Invisalign also. We share that. But I loathe business anything in dentistry. I've been at this, just to illustrate the point, 17 years, as I was saying, and not even within like a moderate margin of error could I tell you what the price of anything in my dental clinic is. Not a thing. And don't even get me started on P&Ls.
Could you tell me how much money the practice made in November?
No.
Could
Listen,
you tell
okay,
me,
I
can you
no,
tell
this
me
is
your
making me look bad.
percentage
This is make
what was your percentage overhead in the fourth quarter of 2024?
you know that I don't know the answer to that. Can I
Does
please
that
explain
make
myself?
Does that
Listen,
make you feel mediocre? That
no.
you don't know these
It
things?
makes me feel like I understood early on in my career that if I was going to have any satisfaction whatsoever in this industry, and I do, I like the clinical, like I live for that. I live for those contacts. I live for creating shapes. It's like my favorite thing to bring someone's smile to life, to see them like radiating confidence. I love all of that. If I was to focus on what each gauze cost or what each bird, where the head's like flying off here, I'm cutting off porcelain crowns and I'm just like going through 20 of them. If it bothered me when my assistant Kira put like a little extra bond into that well, and I was keeping track of all of that, I would have absolutely zero satisfaction in this profession. I'd be out of it.
But theoretically, you could have worked the entire month of December and made negative money, and you just have no idea.
I have people who would inform me if there was a problem. I only want to know when there's a big problem.
Okay, so I love offices. I love running offices. I love efficiencies. I love cutting overhead. I love business of dentistry. I love Invisalign. I love metrics. And I love all of that. But give me like an MOD where the stain is like going and going and going.
You mean like the decay? The stain?
Not
like
decay,
you're putting
not decay. It's not clear that it's decay. It's just stain. It's stain. There's stain on the floor of this prep. And it kind of feels hard-ish.
Hard-ish?
Yeah, no.
You need that, not like that leathery scratch. Like,
no,
I want that hard as a rock. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard-ish, but there's definitely discoloration.
Uh-huh.
And I chase it a bit.
Okay, a bit. You gotta
Now
go all the
I'm
way.
getting deeper and deeper. And then I'm like, which is the one horn that comes up high? Is that like the upper tooth or the upper molar or the lower molar where the horn comes up high? Because one of them,
Depends on the person,
one of those
yeah.
pulp horns come up high.
Yeah.
One of the mesial ones. I can't remember if it's the
You
upper
see
or the
pink,
lower.
you cry.
Oh. Did you
Pass
have to
out.
say
I know,
that?
I know.
Like, did you
Taking
have to
you
say
back. When's the last time you saw pink? Okay.
Yeah, my point exactly. Chasing that little stain down and then going, oh, I'm not going to take it deeper because it's Thursday
what's
and I'm
next.
going away for the weekend and there's just nothing good waiting for me down there. I will take it as far as I can, but I'm no hero. So I will scrape till the cows come home. I will spoon excavate forever.
If you see that little
But
dot.
the way you
little
hate
dot.
P&Ls,
Yeah. Oh.
I hate chasing stains. So
Okay.
So we were in a, let's put this out. So if you were looking at my X-rays,
Yes.
and like with a microscope,
No.
over 100 patients, I would feel mediocre if you looked at my X-rays, and that's crazy because I'm a good dentist.
Yeah.
And I had a huge practice.
And I've heard your patients speak.
And
your
they
phrases.
love me.
Absolutely.
But I'm
They'll
just
say the
going to be
best dentist
flat
ever.
out honest on episode 1, doing restorative, taking microscopes to my own X-rays. I could have 99 fillings that are like, beautiful.
Beautiful.
1. And there's like a little shadowish underneath like my box.
Yep.
Like a little shadow that might
Just
even be dented or might even be like a weird way. And I won't sleep for a week. And I'm like, I don't know if we've told anybody, but I'm a mediocre dentist. I just go out to the waiting room and be like, hey, I just go out to the waiting room and be like, hey, everybody, I just want you to know, it has come to my attention. I'm a mediocre dentist. So I don't know if you want to stay here for your appointment for the rest of the day because I think I should be upfront with people.
Just like put
The
it in like
mediocre.
maybe a frame.
Yeah, maybe a frame.
You wouldn't have to say it. Might be nice. They just walk in, they see it.
And,
Maybe on your badge.
but don't you think that's crazy? Because like I'm David Galler and I feel mediocre. And I have thousands of followers and I do great work, but everybody feels mediocre. Everybody a little broke. Okay, we're in a little room of our friends. We have quick little aside. We have no friends that aren't dentists.
That's true.
Like one of our
Or in the
kids has a friend that they're on the basketball team with and one in the school. And we have 2 couple friends in Vancouver. And then I have like 4 friends from New York that are just friends. We know nobody else who's not a dentist.
I know, but that's just kind of our life, right? Like we're constantly on the move. And so like we're either traveling to be at something that's Invisalign related. So I think it's just the milieu in which we find ourselves. It's not
It is
intentional.
100% not normal.
Okay.
We have no neighbor friends. My best friend in
accurate.
Nevada
Yes.
is Sean. Sean is the producer of our podcast, and he's my best friend in Nevada.
Nothing wrong with that. Sean's a great guy.
Sean's just a fellow. We'll have a whole episode of how we met Sean.
Okay.
Sean's my best. Do we know anybody who lives on this block? Do we know anybody who lives on our block in Vancouver? No, we do not.
No.
We have
busy
0
lives.
friends who aren't dentists. Okay,
People don't really do that anymore, though. I don't think that's the world.
they do.
They do.
Yeah,
Oh,
they have
okay.
couple friends, and then they
Listen.
have like game night,
Yeah.
and then they have interactions. And this guy's a lawyer, and she's an accountant,
Yeah.
and the other one's like we know people who aren't dentists.
What about Jennifer?
All right, I feel mediocre if you looked at 100 sets of my X-rays and one was wrong. We're with a group of our friends who are all dentists.
Yes.
And some of them here, there. We got friends in Tampa. We have friends in Boston. We have friends
San
in New York,
Clemente.
Puerto Rico, San
Yeah.
Clemente, Seattle,
Absolutely.
everywhere. And we're sitting with them, and everybody starts talking P&Ls.
Oh,
And
KPIs. All the acronyms.
KPIs.
Oh.
Oh, and they
Make
go,
me sick.
hey, what do you
Yeah.
think about my KPI? I just got like 120% of my KPI. Like, hey, Andrea, how's the office with KPIs?
I don't
How
even-
do you feel?
I
How
feel-
do you feel?
I immediately
Say it.
awful.
Say it. For the audience.
Mediocre. I do.
You feel mediocre.
And that's okay.
And that's crazy
It is crazy.
because you have a very successful office
Despite myself.
with patients who love you, that
Yeah.
make enough money for you to do whatever you need to do
Yeah.
and live a normal middle-class life that we live.
Absolutely.
And you feel mediocre on the
100%.
business side.
Absolutely.
On a daily basis,
Maybe I
weekly
need-
basis, or
need
monthly
new friends.
basis?
Need new friends. I'm just
How,
joking.
how often do you feel mediocre in terms of the business of your office?
Business of my office? I was just saying, I don't think about that a ton. But I mean, yeah, if I let my mind go there, and I
Just
do.
last week, I visited
You're gonna
friends
out
of
me?
mine,
Yeah.
ours, in
Yes.
San Clemente,
Yes.
who are building a beautiful office. Shoreline
Gorgeous.
Dental, if you have a chance, if there are any non-dentists by chance listening to this podcast, go to
Absolutely, the
Shoreline
place you
Dental.
wanna be.
Did we just pander?
Oh.
Did.
That's a friend. That's a shout
It's a
out.
friend. Okay, Shoreline Dental if you live in San Clemente. And I came home and I was so happy for that because they've been building this office for 5 or 6 years.
Absolutely.
And I started to describe what their office looks like to you and how it's going to be beautiful and how the waiting room and what happened to you.
I'm like, oh my God, I didn't have that. I didn't even think to do that. Where did you even learn how to think like that and to have that kind of setup? And you're going to have however many ups. I felt
above average, below average, or mediocre?
I felt very mediocre.
Do you want to work in San Clemente?
I cannot work in San Clemente. I'd actually love to
Do
be
our
in
friends
California.
deserve a nice office in San Clemente?
They absolutely do.
So
I love
why
them very
is
much.
their office make you feel mediocre? Because we all broken.
We are all
we
broken.
all broken.
We compare ourselves to what we see around us. If we could just turn that off and just do our thing, we'd be good. And that, I think, is what we're going to try to convey here.
That's what
There's
this
a
show
million
is
ways
about.
to do it.
That's what this show's about. This show about nothing except that I get you if you're worried about your restorative skills.
And I get you if you don't know what KPI stands for.
All right. Let's get to a segment that we call Let's Be Real.
Let's be real.
Let's be real.
Okay, this is a segment that we will like to have in every episode called Let's Be Real. Let's be real. Most dentists are unhappy.
Let's be real. It's okay to be a mediocre dentist. Be a magnificent fucking human.
Let's be real. The fact that you don't understand how much your office makes or doesn't make bothers me slightly. As your financial partner and husband,
Listen, no one's ever accused me of being fiscally responsible. That's ask my
I
accountants.
know, but let's be real. It's slightly
terrifying.
straight. It's different.
Let's be real. Someone would have informed me if it was going off track.
Let's be real. There's a slight chance your office manager is stealing from you.
Let's be
We have
real.
no idea.
Let's be real. I love her enough that I'd be okay with it. I'm still paying my bills, dude.
Let's be real. Nobody has ever seen a dentist or their staff dancing on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube and said, "That's my dentist."
And let's be real, if they do manage to have a little bit of a giggle, they're not laughing with you. They're laughing at you.
Oh, that is vicious. Let's be real. Nobody has paid for a filling at Cedarbrook Dental since 1986.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
You don't even know? Okay.
All right.
Let's be real.
All right. Let's jump into our final segment of the night called Throwing Pens Across the Podcast Set. At the end of every episode, we'll both throw pens like that.
It was a mic drop. I don't know what that was. A little spastic. We are going into the DAT. Who dat?
So all dentists, because why would anybody who's not a dentist listen to this podcast? If you're a dentist out there, you know that you had to take once upon a time something called the DAT, which stands for?
I know this one. Dental Aptitude Test.
Correct. And on this show, The Mediocre Dentist, we're going to have a DAT, but it stands for cue the jingle.
Dental anxiety test. Dental anxiety test.
And now it is time for today's version of the DATs. And we welcome to the stage Dr. Sonny Gill. Welcome to the Mediocre Podcast.
Thank you for having me. DATs, you just scared the crap out of me. I'm not
DATs.
sure.
Do you remember the DATs,
Yeah, you said
Dr.
Heart
Sonny
rate's
Gill?
rising. Yeah, blood pressure.
PTSD, yeah, I'm having PTSD from DAT right now. You're not going to ask me about the Krebs cycle, are you? It's like,
Well, we have some spatial analysis for you to do. No, here at the Mediocre Dentist Podcast, the DATs is called the dental anxiety test.
Sure.
And we're going to test your anxiety. Now,
Okay.
for those listeners at home who might not be familiar with Dr. Sonny Gill, arguably one of the most successful dentists in the Toronto, if not Ontario area.
If not Canada, come on.
Up
All
there,
of Canada.
let's just say easily one of the most recognizable names for sure in Toronto, probably Ontario, now on the speaking circuit.
Yep.
At the peak had how many operatories
Oh, we're at
total between all the offices?
That's
How many
a lot.
offices was the max?
8 offices.
8
at peak,
offices
Yeah.
at the peak with how many operatories if we had
Say
all
4 to 5.
per 40 offices, 40 operatories? How many peak team members?
Oh, peak team members, dental alone?
Dental.
Dental about 80, 90?
80 or 90.
Ooh, okay, now you got my
So
temperature rising.
literally owns a skyscraper in Toronto with offices in it. And our podcast, Sonny, is going to show our listeners that even at the top of the game, some dentists still feel mediocre.
Yeah,
We're going to test to see if you feel that way.
let's do it.
Here we go. How
Let's
many
do it.
years ago did you graduate dental school?
16?
16 years in the game.
Yeah.
By all accounts, have conquered and are a success by any metric. Clinically, marketing-wise, business-wise, venture-wise.
Done some things, yes.
Every now and then when you go to sleep at night, you flash back to dental school?
That's nightmare.
Nightmare.
Nightmare, yeah,
How
yeah.
often?
Ooh. I would say once every couple of months. maybe.
Once every couple of months.
It's always the same though. It's the test. It's like
Test.
it's like I'm not ready for some type of. They're gonna ask me something I'm not ready for.
Walk us through that.
Yeah, no, it's always the same thing, right? I think you're preparing to study some histology stuff that you don't really ever need in life, and then you need to figure out how to get ready for that, and then you're just not ready, and
You're just not ready.
the alarm clock's going off, and you're not where you're supposed to be, and you're just not. There's never enough time. Remember that old Saved by the Bell episode?
Yes.
I resonate with Jessie Spano all the time. That there's never enough time.
There's
You know what I'm
never
talking
enough
about? That Zach Morris moment she had with him.
love
Yeah,
that.
that's what it is. That's the reoccurring.
See, my sister is a psychologist in New York. She has a master's, a doctorate in psychology. And I asked her, I said, Dana, what does it mean if I flash back to a past event with stress and I dream about it, even though I've already graduated, I'm already a success? And she goes, oh, we have a word for that. And I was like, what? And she said, PTSD. She said, what happened to you in dental school? I said, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about it.
We do here at the Mediocre Dentist because it makes our podcast listeners feel normal.
Yes.
That somebody even as successful as you feels normal. All right, walk Andrea and I through your worst day in dental school.
Oh man, my worst day in dental school. I think it's I don't know if I have a particular day, but it's those feelings of when you're sitting there, you learn a new skill, whatever, you're learning to MOD, you're learning to do something,
Yeah.
and you just can't figure it out. And then you look around you and everyone else seems to have figured it out. Like that's the worst,
Everyone
right?
else
Because
got the
Social
check.
comparison.
they line you up in
Yeah.
this those little bays,
Bays.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they line you up in those bays, and you got your plastic guy, and you look over, you're like, how you doing? Like, oh, I'm done. I'm like,
Oh.
how the fuck are you done?
You're allowed to curse on this.
We are?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How the fuck are you
How the
done?
fuck are you done? Like,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what side the rubber dam's supposed to go on.
And you're done?
They're like, you're doing dentures. Like, why you need a rubber dam? So I'm confused. And no, it's always those moments. I think. Are the
No,
worst
not
ones
one
where-
specific instance. Just a general.
Just that
you
general,
got
like,
checked off and I didn't.
Not even that. It's like, how far behind am I? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Am I supposed to? Did I miss something? Was I not paying attention?
Was there a
You
summer
guys-
session I didn't know about?
Like,
Yeah.
did I get it? Did I not get it? I'm not sure what's happening. So I think it's always that. It's the social comparison of like,
Yeah.
are you up to standard? I think that's the way they've always kind of got us in school, right? Like, here's the standard, and they kind of look at you like,
And there's always, right within your class, there was one dude in our class, no
Yes.
matter what the assignment was, wax it, cut it, build it,
Yep.
shape it, pour it. He had it done, and it was perfect every time. His name was Ryan.
Right.
And he was the nicest guy.
Yeah.
But I couldn't touch him.
Yeah.
Never. I could practice for 100 years.
Never got
My
there.
stone model don't look as pretty as his.
Right. The golden hands kid.
Golden hands kid.
Yeah.
Today he's a
Every class has one. Yeah,
Yeah, today
He
he's a
went to pros?
prosthodontist who
Okay.
accepts Medicaid. Sunny,
turn.
you're deep. You're cutting. You're prepping 3 teeth, 3 crowns. You hear a knock at the door. Dr. Gill, I need an exam in room 1. What you doing?
Well, we have a rule about that. We don't
Okay.
do that.
What happens?
You tell me at the start of your appointment when you need to check. So I have an hour to figure out when I can come and see you.
Okay. This
Not-
seems to be
Because
somewhat
this
consistent.
is the thing, right? We got multiple hygienists working. You can't have everyone will do the same knock
Yeah,
within
knock,
3
knock,
minutes,
yeah.
and you're knee deep trying to find
You're just getting
NB2.
tenser and tenser
yeah,
and tenser.
No, that's a problem.
So nobody
That's-
knock. Temp comes in. She don't know the rule. She knock on the door. Dr. Gill, I have an exam in room 6.
Yeah, now you got to figure out how to play the game. You don't want to. Okay, patients won't watch this, right? Here's one of my favorite tricks, though.
Yeah.
I love the cotton roll trick.
Okay.
Have you seen that? Have I told anybody the cotton roll
No.
trick before?
No.
What you do is, I really hope my patients don't watch this. What you do is put a little cotton roll in there. You'd be like, I got a little medicine. We got to put a little medicine in there. I need you to bite down lightly. Oh, too hard. Like, good. Stay right there. I'm gonna bring you up. It's gonna soak in. Okay? I'll be back. I go. I do my stuff. I'll come back. I'm like, did it tingle? I swear to God. 30% of the
God.
time, 40% of the time, like, yeah, I was tingling a bit. I'm like, good.
The pretend cotton roll
Cotton
trick.
roll trick.
By yourself
Wow.
sometimes.
I'm writing that
yourself
down. We might have a whole
Right?
episode about that.
There's a. Sometimes they'll tell you I tingled. I felt a
Roll
little this.
trick.
You
Or
buy
an
yourself some
exam.
time. You
For
buy.
an exam
You buy
patient.
yourself time.
Huh.
Huh.
Bite down on this. Just some little medicine.
It's a big office. There's a lot of people here.
Right.
A lot of associates, right?
Sure.
Everybody got a room. Everybody got a thing. You find a ham piece that you're like, I really like this one. This one cuts well for
You
me.
get in trouble.
You hide it.
It's the velo.
You hide
It's
it.
the velo. That's what we do.
The
with
velo.
The velo.
You
She's
hide
like,
any instruments so that when you need them, it's there.
I prefer to be able to have access to my
You hide
to
them.
this stuff.
Some little first day associate grabs your favorite spoon
You
excavator.
got to get there. You got to get to the velo or the nice. You got to.
For
Earn
all
your
of our
stripes.
listening audience,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
one more time. Look at this face, Dr. Cindy Gill, one of the most successful dentists in all of Toronto, Canada. How often do you feel mediocre? Once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year?
Oh, yeah, every day. That's
Every day?
That's a
Crazy.
that's a daily battle, right? That's
Every
yeah.
day. Will it ever end?
Uh,
Is there any point in your mind where Earl's going to be like, God damn,
no,
you're
no,
good?
No, I don't think that ever happens.
Yeah.
I think that you gotta, there's a story I tell about, the 2 wolves, right? Have you heard the 2 wolf story?
No.
The 2 wolf story. So there's 2 wolves that go and they're sitting out there in the forest, and this white wolf and this black wolf, and they're gonna go to war and they're gonna fight to the death. They're gonna go at it. And
Yeah.
the white wolf is everything good and honest and pure and positive and optimistic and all those things, and the black wolf is all those opposites. It's Earl and all the negativity and all the things that you don't like. So the question is, who wins?
Who wins?
Who wins?
I don't know.
The one you feed.
Ooh.
That's who wins.
Ooh, that gave me goosebumps.
That's who wins. So we're going to sit there and try to figure out how not to feed the black wolf. The black wolf will be there forever. You are not going to defeat the black wolf. But you have to figure out how to starve the black wolf and feed the white wolf. And it's a daily battle. That's not a figure it out, set it and forget it type of moment. That's
some deep shit, Sonny.
That's some
And
conscious
I want everyone
energy.
to think about that on your way to work today. Feed the white wolf from a distance still.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's still
Still
a
a
fucking
wolf.
wolf. It's still a fucking wolf. So just be careful, everybody. Thank you very much, Sonny.
Thank you so much. Good to have you.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank
Oh,
you so
buddy.
much. You're awesome.
Great to have you.
Thank you.
That was
Appreciate
legit
it.
great.
Thank you.
Anxiety test. Anxiety test.
All right, well, let's recap episode number 1, Mediocrity 101. What we learned in this episode is that when it comes to the business of dentistry, you feel very mediocre. You're in a room and somebody says KPIs and you feel mediocre. I feel mediocre in my restorative dentistry compared to you. I am nervous for you to look at bite wings of my restorative dentistry. So everybody feels mediocre
And that's okay.
because we are all just mediocre dentists in our minds. And that's not that bad.
The mediocre dentist, the mediocre dentist. 'Cause sometimes you just feel mediocre. The mediocre dentist, the mediocre dentist. I am mediocre, you are mediocre, and that's not that bad.